So, I bought yet another watch for my collection, and it was an impulse purchase as a result of a few factors, one of the most important being beer. A word of advice: never go for a round of beer with a fellow watch enthusiast, especially one who has an incredible amount of vintage Seikos in his collection. A friend of mine wore this watch to our meet to tell me he will be selling it, knowing quite well it ticks more than a few boxes for me, so by the third beer, I offered to purchase it from him. I still believe that was his plan all along that I so easily fell for. But to be honest, unlike most impulse purchases that you end up regretting, this one hasn't left my wrist for a month now, and I will look at it with awe, so I'm safe to conclude I don't regret my hasty decision. This is a 1977 Seiko Type II quartz, powered by then entry-level 7546 quartz movement. But you have to understand that back then, quartz was a novelty, and one that was quite pricey. So the quality of this movement wipes the floor with almost everything quartz powered today, except the very high-end quartz movements from the likes of Grand Seiko. This is a 4-jewel serviceable quartz that is now very close to being 50 years old, and it still works flawlessly, still running within its accuracy spec, never missing a beat. The fact that it even comes with an EOL or End of Life indicator, where the seconds hand will jump every 2 seconds when the battery is low, like modern Grand Seikos, shows you the level of effort Seiko put into these back in the day. If, however, you want to really go high-end, look for King Quartz and Grand Quartz models from that era, with more premium thermally compensated quartz movements, some of which that boasted accuracy of 5 seconds a year. Those will be recognized by the double phallus logo at 6 o'clock, while mine is just a regular single one. But being a very cool quartz when quartz meant quality is just one of the boxes it ticked for me. The others include the rectangular design. If you follow my channel, you know I have a soft spot for anything rectangular. I mean, my first ever luxury purchase, years before any of my Rolex or Omega watches, was a reverso. I think that says enough. The second was the design of the markers and hands. Again, just like contrasting chapterings, I have an obsession with multifaceted and painted markers and hands. Again, if we take a look at my collection, both my vintage King Seiko and my beater Seiko 5 use this design. There is just something unexplainably beautiful and elegant to me when I see a black line running alongside hands and markers, as it increases legibility and makes both stand out in most lighting situations. Even the lack of lume is an acceptable sacrifice to me as long as I see those lines. And last but not least, it's the bracelet and clasp. This thing may have stamped folded hollow links and a stamped clasp, which was a standard back then, but even here you can see and feel the quality, as not all hollow bracelets are made the same. The benefit of these bracelets, especially when they use a lot of small links like this one does, is the lateral play I often mention in my videos. That lateral play is something missing on many modern bracelets, but it adds so much comfort, it is hard to go back to wearing modern watches after a month with this. The quality is felt in the smoothness and silkiness this gives you when on wrist. It never pulls a hair, it never gets glued to your skin, it just always glides like it's made of silk. And being very light as the whole package, it is one of those watches you forget are on your wrist. The clasp also, simple at first, friction held, stamped, and with regular micro adjustment holes, it hides a feature in its sleeve, a spring-loaded glide lock similar to one used by modern Tudor watches. As your wrist expands in heat, the clasp stretches with it, always staying the correct size and always keeping that comfortable feel. Again, let's remember this is a 50-year-old watch. I can already see this will be one of my most worn watches, as it is practical due to being a simple grab-and-go quartz, comfortable beyond belief, and most importantly, incredibly cool and beautiful, at least to me. So what started as a drunken impulse purchase that one would usually regret ended up being one of the best purchases in my recent years. However, I still stand by my advice to never go drinking with a fellow watch enthusiast, especially if he has a watch to sell. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.